Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Savvy Cast. This is Jamie, and I'm so excited to have you join me, whether on YouTube or the podcast. Today, we are going to talk healthy eating, healthy lifestyle with my daughter, Ellie Hiller. Ellie, hey, how are you?
Thanks for having me back, Mom. I love being on the Savvy Cast.
Awesome. Okay, well, y'all, this is my firstborn. She was born
2 minutes.
2 minutes before her twin, Mary Judson. So, well, Ellie, just let's start with so now what you're doing, you're out of the ER and you're now doing Vulcan Nutrition.
Yes.
Sean is Vulcan Performance. And so he's the physical therapy side. Tell us what you do, who is your ideal client, and what they can expect if they start working with you to get more fit and more healthy.
Mm-hmm. So I work with anyone who doesn't have a medical condition that would necessitate, like diabetes, that would necessitate a registered dietitian. So my ideal client, though, I love working with people who come to me and say, I don't really know anything. I'm starting from square one. I used to love working with athletes who kind of already felt like they knew everything, and then we could make these very nuanced tweaks. But I found that my passion really lies in people who is an everyday mom, or who just wants to improve their health, like we talked about, like in the height of COVID. I just want to be healthier, right? Because I find that they get massive results from small changes, like you were talking about with Iron Tribe. I mean, you already ate healthy and you walked a lot and did Pilates, but you made some small tweaks to your diet and your exercise routine and got massive results. And how motivated are you right now? Like, are you very motivated?
I want everybody I know to do it with me. I mean, it's crazy. I want all my friends. I want everybody in my family. I'm so glad I gave that to Zane for Christmas because I feel better. And I see people of all ages. I see people of all weights.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
and
we're all on a journey.
Right. And seeing you so excited about something that you found that you love, that creates momentum. And you're sending me, foods like, hey, how does this nutrition label look? And I'll just give you my answer. And you've never done that before. And I find that when you can get someone excited about something, you get the ball rolling, and then it creates this lifestyle and this cascade of events of just, okay, whoa, I'm like living a healthy lifestyle. Right. So I love working with people like that, who they kind of have this epiphany moment of, I feel amazing and I want to live the rest of my life like this. So yeah, that's my ideal client. But I work with men, women, young, old. I've kind of hit athlete, non-athlete. I've hit the full spectrum, full gamut. But basically the gist of what I do is individualized nutrition coaching. I work one-on-one with each individual. I text them twice a week. We have monthly meetings, face-to-face or via Zoom, so that I can get into their life, figure out what they do, what causes stress in their life, how they sleep, how many kids they have, how that impacts their nutrition, because nutrition is so intertwined with every other aspect of our life, the spiritual, the physical, the mental, the emotional, that I'd be a horrible coach if I didn't get an idea of how all of those other parts of their life are going and how they affect nutrition. So I build a lot of rapport with my clients. We become really good friends, and you'll meet one of my clients at the end of this Zoom call, and we'll kind of a little bit. Her name's Anna.
That's awesome.
But yes, so individualized nutrition coaching, and my style is not a okay, it's just this diet planner. I give you a meal planner. I give you macros. Everyone's different. I have people tracking macros. I have people not tracking macros.
How do you determine what? Let's say Jane Doe comes in. How do you determine whether she tracks or doesn't, or what kind of plan she's on?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of things that go into it. You want to look at their history. Do they have a history with restrictive eating? Do numbers scare them? Would it make them fall into a cycle of restrictive eating again? I give people macros to make sure that they're eating enough. It comes from a place of abundance of
macros. Can you define it for people who don't know what that is?
Yeah, that's a great question. I say macros and people don't even know what that is. So basically, like you have a target range of calories you're trying to hit for the day, and
Mhm.
then the macros are basically protein, carbs, and fat. It's the only way we get calories in our diet is
So
from
it's
the
protein, carbs, and fat. That's the only it's what we eat
right,
in
right, right.
whatever form we eat it, but it's the only way we consume calories is
Right.
macros.
And alcohol is it's like it's a carb, but it technically you can get calories from alcohol, but it still kind of falls under the carb category. But so I have some people and really protein's the big one. That's what I care about. And women will come to me and I'm like, okay, I'm not giving you these numbers to restrict. I'm giving you these numbers to say, I need you eating like way more protein. If you're eating 30 grams, like I need you at like 100 plus, depending on who it is. So yeah, so it comes from a place of abundance, but I have a lot of people that do not track macros because it's just not helpful. So I look at their history, and then I look at what their goals are. If they just want to generally be healthier, they don't really necessarily need to be tracking macros. So
Mhm.
it just depends on what they want out of working with me, and we'll kind of go from there.
Right. Okay. So do they get an assessment at the beginning? Like I got an in body where it told me where I was. How do you have a baseline?
Yes. So the initial consult is what I call it. We'll meet for an hour. Um, we'll do biometrics if they want. I'm not a huge fan of biometrics. I think inches are a big thing that's important to measure, like measuring how many inches fall off. Um, and then also I'm a big proponent of not weighing yourself unless you have the body fat percentage available as well, like your in-body scanner, because weight unless you're overweight and we know okay you need to lose body fat, um the scale lies a lot. Like I bet you mom when you put on that 2% muscle mass, if you had gotten on a normal scale that didn't show your body fat percentage, your weight would have either stayed the same or gone up, right? Because muscle is heavier than fat.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
people get really scared when they're not looking
Yeah.
at body fat percentage, and it can just take away from the ultimate goal of putting on muscle mass. Because when you step on a scale, you don't know what that number is. You don't know if it's body fat, if it's water weight, if it's muscle mass, what it is. So I'm a big fan of doing an in-body scanner or just basically just seeing how you feel in your clothes. Like, do I
That's
feel
exactly
like
right. Yeah,
weight?
that's the way I judge is how my clothes fit, not a scale. I hate the
Yeah.
scale.
Right. And no one knows. At the end of the day, I'm like, if
Yeah.
I weigh 130 pounds and no one knows, they're gonna be like, she's like between 120, 150. It's like it
Mhm.
doesn't matter as long as you feel
Mhm.
good, look good, move good,
Mhm.
all of that. So
Right. Okay. So you get your client their initial assessment and you check in. What are some things that people listening, and they just want to know what are some common things that we misconceptions that you see in your clients and even the general population, misconceptions that you clear up and to help people get on the right path.
yeah. Big one was the muscle mass that I talked about with women.
Bulking up. Mhm.
Right, bulking up. Already talked about that. But then the other thing is this carb phobia is what I call it.
Yeah, yeah.
This just irrational fear of carbohydrates. And our body is meant to have a variety of all of the macronutrients that I talked about, protein, fat, and carbs. If we went back to the ancestral times, we're eating plants, we're eating animal meat, we're eating nuts and seeds. That's your fat, your carb, and your protein. Right. So the fear of carbs comes from the fact that the carbs people think of are processed carbs. Right. And
Chips and cookies and
yes, it's potato chips and things that are obviously going to put weight on you. Yeah, they're empty calories of carbohydrates. Um, but carbs do not make you fat. To the they are the fuel to the car. So for example, mom, when you go to Iron Tribe, that if you did not have carbs in your system, that's your energy source. That's what helps your muscles contract. That's what gives you that output to be able to work at a high intensity and get your heart rate high. And so people that are super afraid of carbs, you find that their workouts are absolute just garbage. Like they don't have energy to produce desirable effects from their workout. And a lot of people don't know your brain runs off of glucose, which is carbohydrate. And so if you have brain fog, if you feel keto brain when you're not eating carbs, you just have that like foggy brain where you're just like, oh my goodness, everything is just so murky. It's because your brain's running on an inefficient fuel source because you're not giving it carbs. So that lack of carbohydrates is one thing I try to educate people.
Well, I have a question, and other people I bet want to know this.
Mm-hmm.
I get up and I drink coffee with a little creamer, and I'm not worried about putting, my Chobani vanilla. I don't put a ton, but I pretty much go to this morning, did my coffee, my creamer, went to Pilates, went to our Iron Tribe, then came home and ate my favorite bar and plant milk. Is it okay to work out on nothing but coffee?
Like fasted cardio, you mean? Basically?
Well, just because I'm not hungry, and I'm also getting up before 5 o'clock. So I'm racing out the door, but I have to have my coffee, but I feel fine, but I get home and I'm starving and I eat. But for people who work out on an empty stomach, is that bad?
I don't like giving blanket answers to things that are definitely generalized or specific to people, but I'm not a huge fan of what people call fasted cardio. Only because if you can even just do a little squeeze pack of applesauce, which is just carbs, right before your workout, you'll get 15 grams of carbohydrates, which will quickly digest. It won't sit in your stomach. You can utilize that energy for your workout. Obviously you wouldn't want to eat a big meal right before you work out, but I think, a banana or applesauce squeeze packs or liquid carbs that you don't have to take a lot of, energy to digest, that would kind of
What about a glass of milk? Milk has carbs.
You would not want to do dairy right before you work out, or any type of full fat milk. And that's a good question. You want to do just carbohydrates before your workout, because protein and fat slow down digestion and fiber. And so they're great away from your workouts because they keep you full for longer and they stabilize your blood sugar. But right before you work out, you don't want anything sitting in your gut because then you get that stitch and that cramp feeling,
I see a lot of people walking in Iron Tribe with eating an apple.
Yep, it's pure carbohydrate. And I mean, that one does have fiber, which is fine, but you just want something quick digesting so you can use that energy. So to make a long story short, I would try to get a little bit of carbs right before your workout. But if you just absolutely can't do it from a digestive standpoint, then I would just eat a huge meal right after.
Okay, well, give us, those listening, give us your top favorite carb sources when you need to have carbs before a workout, and then your top favorite protein immediately after. Yeah. Now, I'm big on my bar. I'm not giving up my bar, even if it's unhealthy. I love this bar. It's like eating a Reese cup.
No, we looked at your bar before. That's good. It has pea protein, which is a complete protein. It's plant-based, so it works for you. I'll give you a quick little.
Can I tell people what my bar is?
Yeah, tell people.
Okay. It's the one plant. I don't like the other one. The other one, it's not good. One plant, and it's the chocolate peanut butter. And I'm literally addicted to it. You can eat little bites at a time. And then I do a glass of half Ripple chocolate, half Califia Farms almond coconut. Now that may not be healthy, but that's just what I love for breakfast.
No,
but Ellie, go ahead. This is you're the expert.
No, you have a great breakfast. You're getting protein, carbs, and right after your workout. So, my pre-workout carbs, this would be something you want to eat right before you work out, not later in the day, because you would want to pair it with a protein and a fat to stabilize blood sugar. But, I like the applesauce squeeze packs. If you have kids, you have probably bought them for your kids. They just are the little tiny, pure fruit puree. So, I do that right before because it's a liquid, quickly digested. Another thing, like a banana is great. Even like a piece of toast or a bagel. There's nothing wrong with bread. Bread is not the enemy. That's good. You can spread some jam on it if you need a little bit more carbohydrates, if you're working out really high intensity for a long time.
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal, you wouldn't want to eat it right out the door typically, because it does have some fiber too, which is going to slow down digestion. So we're thinking high glycemic index foods for right before your workout. But if you're eating a meal 2 hours before, oatmeal would be great.
Okay.
Some people can tolerate yogurt. It has carbohydrates. I would just, if you have sensitivity to dairy, I would just be careful with the yogurt.
Maybe a coconut based yogurt or an almond milk.
Yep.
Your safe post workout
protein. So I am a person who cannot have whey protein. I'll quickly run into the difference. Whey protein is It's comes from like, it's the top little curdling part of milk right after it's when milk is made, it's the part that rises to the top, basically.
Curds and whey. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the curd left and the whey, right? The curd is like cottage cheese.
Right.
And the whey is what comes out of it. Yeah.
Oh, so you knew that better than I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's basically a milk derivative, milk protein. So I can't have dairy, so I do not use whey. Whey is a great option if you can tolerate dairy. It's a complete protein, so really you want to limit artificial ingredients, but any protein that has a whey base and seems relatively clean.
Yeah.
That's a great option. And then if you're someone like me who can't have it, you want to find a plant-based protein that is a complete protein. What that means is that it has the 9 essential amino acids that you have to get through your diet that your body cannot make itself. And pea protein, PEA, like the little vegetable, I have found to be one of the best options because it's a complete protein, easily digestible, and it tastes a lot better than some of the other plant-based.
Okay, so this one plant has pea protein, and then the ripple, the chocolate ripple or the plain ripple, that's pea protein.
Yes.
So, and it tastes great to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, like vegan protein does not taste good for the most part. So when you find one you like, stay with it because most of them are not good.
Okay.
Right.
And Ellie, what about protein powder? I just ordered some.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Pea protein powder.
Oh, okay. Okay. Or whey is fine if you're not sensitive to it. Okay.
Right. And then the final thing I'll say on that is a collagen protein is burst onto the scene. It is a huge thing now. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great, but it's not a complete protein. And it is targeted towards improving joint health, decreasing inflammation, tendon, cartilage, skin, hair, nails, basically. For a post-workout protein, you wouldn't want to do only collagen. You can mix the collagen with another protein, but you're going to want to find either a whey or like a pea protein base so that you can get the muscle recovery benefits that we want from after a workout when we break your muscle down. Collagen is not going to do that in the same way that whey and pea would.
Oh, okay. Because I take the collagen. I think I take the Ancient Nutritions and Vital Proteins also because you cannot taste it.
Right.
If you're saying I need to add, which I'm getting with my bar and my milk, I need to add, and that will complete it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Ellie, now let's just say people watching or listening, and they just want to say, or they're thinking, I just want to start by improving my diet. That's going to be my baby step. Mm-hmm. I have like 600 recipes on Family Savvy, and you have taken how many and you've made them healthier. And that would be a good start for someone who wants to just maybe tweak their diet and then see how they feel and then move more towards some more intentional.
And a lot of your recipes, Mom, are great already. The main goal of these 4 that I pulled out is just to give ideas of basically the anatomy of successful meal prep. Like, how do you dissect if this is going to be a good meal for meal prep for the week, right? And how can you take a recipe from your favorite blogger and just tweak it on your own and just be like, hey, this is going to be a little bit of a healthier spin on it. So I actually refer a lot of my clients to these recipes, and I refer them to your website all the time because you already have some amazing things on there. So I did just want to highlight some of those for people who already love recipes but want to pick out some of the healthier options. So we'll start with 3 criteria for successful meal prep. And when I say meal prep, don't think the 3 compartment containers where everything's separated out, right? That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, do you have food that is readily accessible to pull out of the fridge and eat? Why is that important? It's important because when you've had a stressful day at work, or you come home and you do not want to pull out the raw chicken and cook it for 45 minutes and you're already starving, you just finished your workout, you're stressed out, like, you're going to go to Chick-fil-A. You're going to go.
That's exactly right.
You're going to go to Wendy's. And I like to use the analogy of it's basically hormonal Russian roulette when you're relying on this one day. I hope it's not the time I'm going to give in and go to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to go home and cook my raw chicken. Like, no, like, you're fighting against your hormones at that point. You're stressed out. You just want something quick. You're not going to go do meal prep within 20 minutes of getting home. So all
And
that.
to me, meal prep is making ahead or prepping ahead. You
Right.
can make things completely and reheat them. I tell all about that on my blog. Or you can have all your stuff out ready to
Mhm.
throw in the skillet and cook in 30 minutes or less. I'm all about that. If you,
100%. Yes. Meal prep is not spending a Sunday 7 hours having everything
yeah,
ready.
nobody
Complete
has time for
not.
that.
Yeah. So this is the three simple criteria, keys to performance for meal prep. Okay. The first one is going to be make it easy and limit the steps. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you're trying to just be healthier and have food ready at home, you want to think the buzzwords of crock pot, one skillet meal,
Mhm.
sheet pan recipe, a bowl, like you have Cajun bowls, burrito bowls on your website, right?
Mhm.
The reason those are great is because it limits the amount of dishes, it limits the amount of things you're gonna have to, transfer, like mix in this
Instant
bowl.
pot. Instant pot too.
Right, instant pot, even air fryer. You can do some great things in the air fryer.
Yep.
So think those buzzwords are great when you're thinking meal prep, because you can do it all in big bulk quantities, like sheet pan. That should last you
Mhm.
multiple meals, right? If you put
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
chicken sausage on a sheet pan with all your veggies around it, right?
Mhm.
So okay, make it easy and limit steps. The reason I put limit steps is because a lot of the recipes on your website, they are very simple already, but you
Mhm.
can even go a step further and eliminate the analysis paralysis problem of like, oh shoot, I don't have garlic at home,
Yeah.
or something even more
You can
specific.
tweak. Mhm.
Like you can take steps,
Yeah.
right? Like, and we'll talk about this later with the egg roll in a bowl. You have a lot more ingredients on that, and I've condensed it to 3. And so
Yeah.
it tastes the exact same. You're really not missing out. So
Mhm. Mhm.
make it really, really, really easy. Perfection is the enemy of progress when it comes
Mhm.
to meal prep. And then health in general. Okay, and then the second thing, and we'll use this criteria when we talk about these recipes, but the second thing is going to be prioritize protein. That is the most important thing you can ever do with meal prep. If you have your protein cooked, you can create a meal every single time. It's
Mhm.
it's the bullseye, it's the centerpiece, and then everything else fits around it.
And Ellie, just to also say one thing I've discovered, and it's on the blog, Zesty tuna salad. I think you've made that healthier.
Mhm.
Chickpeas are in a can, and they're 2 tunas that literally are so good you could eat them out of the jar. Now they're not cheap.
Mhm.
Tuna and chickpeas, that is a huge protein. And it's
I've
mhm.
I've sent my clients that recipe a lot, and you can even use the tuna packets. Like, and I make it so simple. Sometimes I'll just use the Star Kiss packets, put my relish and cut up some pickles and throw on some mustard and then put rice in it. Like that sounds kind of gross, but it tastes so good.
Mhm.
Or like throw it on some crackers or nut thins or something.
Right,
Um,
right.
okay, and then so prioritize protein. That's the biggest thing. I'm a big fan of separating your protein once you cook it. For example, if you brown ground turkey and you plan to pair it with different carbs throughout the week, like keep it in an airtight tight container. Don't mix it with other stuff, because
Yeah.
then you can keep it versatile, and it even tastes better when it's not mixed in with like spaghetti squash
Mhm.
already.
Yeah, just put it in a little glass and I think glass containers with air, with lock lids.
Hmm.
A glass container is more appealing. It's
Spins the extra.
cleaner. Nothing absorbs into it. Tomato sauce, nothing. Go to Target or on Amazon, get a glass container. They're fabulous.
That's great advice. I've recently switched to that, and it's made it. It's just a lot more pleasurable to eat it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I will say too, separating your meat from everything else gives you the ability to add more. If you know, for example, I was out and about all day, I'm very low on protein, you can do 5 or 6 ounces instead of your normal 4. So
Mhm,
it just allows you
mhm,
to kind of change things based on how your day went. So
mhm.
prioritize protein. And then the third thing is going to be bulk prep it. Bulk prep. I don't know if you've heard
Yep.
that.
Yep. Bulk prep.
Basically, if you're cooking enough for just one meal, even if it's for the whole family, it's just gonna you're gonna have to do it again the next day. So always cook more if you can, and then that way you have leftover chicken or ground turkey to throw on top of a salad if you want it the next day.
Or
Or
boiled eggs. I do boiled eggs every Sunday or Monday.
those are amazing. A
Put
one
on salad, to put in a tuna salad or whatever, but or just to put on top of a chef salad.
Right, right. And that, I mean, that's just gonna set you up for success. But you don't have to bulk prep everything, just bulk prep the protein. So just have extra protein.
Okay. And just chopping up cucumbers, chopping up peppers, that doesn't take long. You can do that while your eggs are boiling or while they're sitting in the hot water. I mean, to me, while you're prepping your protein, you're waiting on the oven or whatever to stop. Go ahead and just chop the veggies. You may as well multitask.
Yep. That was on my list too. Or just spend the extra money to get the ones that are already cut for you. Your health is an investment and it's worth it. It's going to rot in the bag if you don't cut it. Like the minute you buy it, when you're putting stuff in the fridge, I leave my veggies out and I cut them, put them in an airtight container, and then put them in the fridge.
Right.
And then you can just throw them into your skillet bowl and you're ready. Okay.
And I'll tell you one tip. Let me throw in one tip. I have started this and it makes such a world of difference. I don't put ground beef, like if I go get ground beef, ground turkey or whatever, I do not stick it in the fridge raw. I go ahead and just say, I am going to throw this in the skillet, whether I'm busy doing other things, and I'm going to get it brown and seasoned, put it in the fridge. Otherwise, how many times have we all had to throw away ground meat because it sits in there? We put it off. It does not last long raw in the fridge. But once you brown it, you've got it for 2 to 3 days and it's ready. That's just a tip that I think is helpful for me.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I love how much you use spices. I'm sure your followers see all over your Instagram lives. If you can season something with spices well, like, oh my goodness, you'll never get sick of ground turkey or.
Yeah. And let me say this, because a lot of people may need to be low on sodium. I have got to give a plug to Dax spices.
Yeah.
The absolute best. You do not know you're not eating salt. They are phenomenal. I did a blog post. You can Google, you can get them at Piggly Wiggly or online. Best spices. And I will say the number one, the best one, if you're only is get the Italian. Their Italian is great. So you don't have to have a lot of salt because most spices have salt. But Dax, you can get taco seasoning without salt. You can get Italian. So that is just a great option to know about.
Love it.
And it's DAKS.
Yes, I actually bought some of that, but I didn't know it was low sodium. So that's awesome.
Oh, no, there's no salt. That the people who created it are local and they had a heart condition in their family and they could not eat salt. No salt.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that. And then the honorable mention is freezer protein staples. Having those on hand. I am not talking about meals that you've prepped and frozen. I'm talking about things like when your ground turkey runs out and you have some cauliflower breaded chicken nuggets in the freezer that you could throw in the air fryer, right? Or
fish.
or that shrimp they have at Trader Joe's that you just like run underwater really quick. It's already cooked. It's pre-cooked. Things like that, or turkey burgers or something you can. Right.
Dr. Prager's burgers, black quinoa and black bean burgers are fabulous. The Amy Lou, they've got burgers at Costco, that Amy Lou brand. Pepper and chicken. They're awesome. And Ellie, can I just give a plug for fish? If fish is not real thick and it's pre-packaged, you can, that and shrimp and scallops, you can thaw that in cold water in 30 minutes and you have your protein.
Yep. And you can keep it in the freezer for forever. So
the
worst thing that could happen is you're prepped for the whole week. You run out of your ground turkey or your husband eats it before you get to it. And you're like, oh, I have to go to Chick-fil-A because I don't have food. It's like, no, you don't have an excuse if it's in the freezer and you could just do it real quick. So,
well, let's just say, Ellie, we do get in those situations. In your opinion, what is the absolute best if you're just like, or you get home, there's no food and you're starving? What are 1 or 2 acceptable drive-through or fast food?
Yeah.
I always choose Subway.
Subway's great. And I don't want to, I'm sorry, I sound like I'm demonizing Chick-fil-A. They have honestly probably one of the best menus in terms of getting friendly or like healthy items. Like, Chick-fil-A is great. I'm just talking about like the fries and like getting a number one, right? Like getting fries with something else like a grilled sandwich is totally fine. It's just if you're trying to stay on track, out is difficult. You wouldn't want to do it all the time.
Right.
But yeah, Chick-fil-A is literally, it's one of my go-tos. In the fall, they have a tortilla or like a Santa Fe soup. It's a tortilla soup.
Yeah, tortilla. It's good.
so much protein. It is
Mhm.
amazing. And it is
Their
so
grilled chicken sandwich is great.
grilled chicken sandwich. I will get a side of, like, if I get the market salad, I get it without cheese, and I do like a third of the apple cider vinaigrette because it's super high in sugar. But I like shake it up and like just barely coat it. I hardly put any on there. But I get extra grilled chicken nuggets and I'll throw that on top of the salad.
Huh.
Just because I don't think they give you enough protein.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so just get extra and then it's more filling.
Mhm.
And then the grilled chicken cool wrap is a great option.
Mhm.
Um,
You know, one thing on that cool wrap, I will say in almost any wrap,
mhm,
they're
yeah,
wrapped I always take off like 2 layers and you've still got it wrapped. That
right.
they triple wrap those burritos or whatever. So
Yeah,
you
you
take off some of that. And at Subway, I tell them to take out most of the bread on
uh-huh.
the inside and then just do the turkey, loads of veggies, oil and vinegar, salt and pepper, and it's awesome.
Yep, that's great. Chipotle is actually great. You can build
Yeah.
your own bowl. They have a nutrition calculator online, so you can customize your
Oh,
bowl. And if you order ahead, you can see exactly how much protein you're getting, and
oh.
calories and all of that. Anything that you can customize is great. Like a create your own, chopped. You can make your own salad and put your protein on it. But then also Starbucks. I'm not a big fan of Starbucks, but they have a egg white, reduced fat egg white breakfast sandwich that in
I've
the
had it. It's awesome. Uh-huh.
it's great. They're sous vide.
Those things are awesome.
Those
Yes. Do they still have those? I haven't been there inside and what those sous vide egg bites.
yes, you look at it and you're like, this is no food, and then it takes you forever to
It
eat, and it's
does. It's
so
the weirdest thing. I've never had anything like it.
and it actually
So
tastes great. I love it.
it is. And
Yeah,
do y'all know? Let me just throw this in. I haven't used mine yet. If you get one of the newer, well, not even one of the newer, Instant Pot has sous vide. It has the sous vide function.
oh,
I'm going to learn how to use it because they say it's the best meat you'll ever have, and that's how restaurants do it. But when you do it, your meat is pale because it's been in water, so you really have to
it's like
sear it later. Yeah, because I'm real funny about the way things look.
yeah, but
But
that's good for like a chicken salad or something.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's
Ellie, can I ask you this before you move on? How much for the common woman? How much protein and how much water? Because I know both of those, you stress both of those, water and protein.
Yeah, that again, so individualized based on what you're doing. Like for you, your needs have changed just from going from, walking and Pilates only now to CrossFit. Your needs have increased dramatically for protein. But for general rule of thumb, I like to start at zero point 0.7 grams per pound of lean body mass, or you could do like zero point 0.7 grams per kilogram of body weight.
Okay,
So
that means nothing. You know what? My math, I can't do two
okay,
plus two. You're going to write that down.
yeah.
What does that mean for the average woman?
So
Like
for
a general.
Well, I was saying that for people that want to like calculate their own, but like that is the absolute minimum I would set someone at. So what that would mean for a 130-pound woman is around 91 grams of protein for the day.
Do most women get that much? I know I do. I eat protein like crazy, but do most, they don't?
Absolutely not. Like that's the biggest thing. People will come to me and they're just incredibly protein deficient. And then we find that when they start eating enough protein, they're satisfied. Their blood sugar stays more stable throughout the day. They
Mhm.
they are fuller, they're making body composition changes they've never made before, and their cravings decrease dramatically. So I mean protein is just it's the biggest thing. And so that's the absolute minimum. For a 130-pound woman though, if she's working out like CrossFit or high intensity, I would want her, closer to like 100, 115, 120 grams, even more. Like I eat 150 grams of protein per day.
But the minimum for almost any woman is 50 grams? Or
Um,
did you say higher?
uh, I mean, it just so depends. You want to take
Yeah.
your body weight and multiply it by like zero point 0.7 to get
Yeah.
a general idea.
Okay.
That formula wouldn't apply in someone who's very overweight.
Mhm.
You would want to look at lean body mass
Okay.
and stuff. But yeah, just a general rule of thumb.
Okay. And is water something? I know that I'm very deficient in water. And what are the ramifications of that and then I know we've got to get into a few recipes. So
Yes,
just
yes.
quickly, more
Real quick,
water.
water. Don't drink when you're thirsty. Drink all the time. Like it's not like drink water all the time. A good place to start. minimum 80 ounces a day. It's dependent again on body weight and like what your activity level is and all that and in your environment. But I would start with 80 ounces, but try to get it over 96 if you can. So,
recipes.
Okay, cool. So first one, we pulled out 4 and we'll go through these, pretty quick. But the first one is my absolute favorite on the FamSav website. It's the white bean chicken chili. So, and what we're doing is we're finding my 4 go-to meal prep FamSav recipes. Okay. So white bean chicken chili, I love it because it fits all 3 of the criteria we talked about earlier. It's a crock pot recipe. So you just throw it all in, 3 ingredients. So you keep it stupid simple. And you pretty much will always have half of these ingredients on hand, which Mom, I'll let you tell people what they are. And then it's super versatile. You can throw it on top of any carb. You can put it on top of rice. You can crack tortilla chips on top of it. And then you leave it all day to cook. You come home and it's ready. So Mom, tell us what's in it real quick. So
okay, it's white meat chicken, pepper and cini peppers, and white beans, and I use cannellini or navy beans or the canned and rinsed. Now I season it with gracious. It's ranch. Is it ranch dressing? No. I'm so sorry. The white chili pack.
Right. It's hard to find.
Yeah. Well, it's now COVID. It was gone for a while. And you have to stand there and look. You'll see tons of chili and you have to look really hard, but it's usually one little row of chili and it'll say white chicken chili.
Yes. But it literally 3 ingredients. I always have the pepperoncini peppers in my pantry.
Those are great.
They're always there. And I just use a whole jar. I just throw it in so I don't even have to worry about storing it in my fridge. I like more flavor anyway. And instead of, Mom, I think you put like sometimes 3 chicken breasts, I just cover the entire bottom layer of my casserole crock pot. I know you always told me don't stack chicken breasts because you want to make sure it cooks through all the way. So I'll do like 6 chicken breasts on the bottom because I have a huge crock pot. I'll throw in 2 cans of beans and then the whole thing of peppers. And that lasts Sean and I, 3 days for like 2 meals a day. And we eat a lot.
Well, and let me say this, a casserole crock is better for doing this kind of meal prep because it's like a casserole size where you can spread things out. The big 6-quart has a smaller footprint and you're stacking your chicken. So if you don't have a casserole crock, everyone, that is a great investment. I think it's maybe $60. I don't know, but it's fabulous. And it's a lot prettier too. And it cooks quicker.
Yep.
And Ellie, I would say if you can't find the white chili chicken mix packet, I mean, you can now get ranch dressing mix. It may not be healthy, I don't know, but you can get it in a big jar now. Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning. Maybe just use a little of it and then that's no salt maybe.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, even if you don't, I mean, the peppers flavor it enough, truly.
They're so good. And you're getting your vinegar from the peppers, your acid, salt, fat, acid, heat.
Yeah. And also like really, I mean, you could even put hot sauce on it after it's cooked. Like it's just so versatile. But the thing I love about it, it is so high protein. You're getting about, 8 grams from a serving of cannellini beans or whatever beans you choose. And then obviously the white chicken breast is just loaded with protein. When you pair those things together, it is so satiating. You are so full. You finish dinner and you're like, oh my goodness, I am satisfied. I don't need to go for the popcorn or the, chips or whatever. And I have clients who put some cheese on top or they'll, put a little bit of low fat sour cream. And so you can kind of doctor it up to make it fun, but truly I just put it on top of some rice and it's great.
Here's a picture for that. And you know who gave me this recipe?
Who?
Melanie Nichols.
Oh my goodness. I love her.
Our Warren Averett Women's Wealth Advisors. She's our girl. We love Melanie.
So savvy. Savvy.
I love Melanie. If you need a money manager, asset manager, Melanie Nichols. Anyway, this is her recipe. And I've got to tell you, people have even rated this on Family Savvy. I don't ever even ask people to leave ratings. It's rated highly. And I probably, 4.2 stars out of 24 reviews. Now, it's really not a chili. And the way I have it, white bean chili chicken. I make mine very dry. Now, my friend Marie, who they eat this, she said about once a week, she adds chicken broth and makes it more like a chili. If you want it more like a chili, add broth. If you want it more like a chicken, do it the way Ellie does, because you've got the liquid from the pepperoncini.
Right. I'm like you. I don't like it soupy. So
Yeah.
and putting extra beans helps as well. Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else you want to say on that?
No, I think that's what we always make bowls. We put it over either rice with fresh cilantro, cheese, chopped cucumbers, radishes. That's a great thing to have for a party. When we have our small group, at least twice in a semester, we will have white chili chicken, and people love it. It's a great small group, and it's cheap. Buy your chicken at the fresh market on Chuck and Chicken Tuesdays, and it's $2.99 a pound. During COVID, I think it's gone up $1 a pound. But okay, so that, yes, love white chili chicken.
Okay, so that was my number one. I absolutely love that. Make it all the time. The second one is you have it. It's called Paleo Skillet on your website, but we're not really gonna. I'm tweaking it. It's not gonna be paleo.
And I don't do it paleo anymore. But that I started when we were doing paleo very briefly years ago. It was paleo, but I don't do it paleo anymore. I'll change the URL on that.
No, that's fine. It gave us a good segue into paleo. But Mom, tell us real quick what is in it, and then I'll tell you my adjustments. Or if you remember,
I'll it's so easy. I always like to keep, and my favorite is chicken jalapeno from Trader Joe's, a healthy sausage.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to try to get chicken or turkey. But I've used Kaneka hickory, and it's great, but it's not as healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a sausage, and then I always do colored peppers, onion, and I try to do zucchini or squash where you got lots of veggies, sort of like a fajita in a skillet. And I a lot of times will throw in some shrimp, and you just sort of saute everything in stages with a little Cajun seasoning and throw it back in. And I will sometimes do baby potatoes. But if you serve, the best way to me is serving this over basmati rice. So when I do that, I don't do potatoes. It's fabulous over rice.
Amazing. And it's like, it tastes like sometimes like jambalaya. Like you put the Cajun seasoning. It's like that. It's like, it's not soupy, but you mix it with rice and it's great.
People love it.
So, okay, few things I pulled out to make this healthier if you were trying to lose weight. Okay. Or just be healthy in general. The biggest thing is going to be the sausage that you choose. So, originally, I think I saw Mom, you used andouille sausage. That was on your website. Is that how you said it?
And then I was using the Kaneka hickory. But now I use the chicken or, chicken sausage.
From Trader Joe's. Just learning how to read a nutrition label is very empowering. So I recommend that everyone learn how to do it. If you don't know how, like I would love to teach you. So just message me on Instagram or something. And I would love to teach you, because chicken sausage is going to just vary across all brands. Like, for example, there's some chicken sausage sounds really healthy, and it is, but there's some where you look at the nutrition label and the fat content is higher than the protein content. That becomes an issue because fat is just very calorically dense. So you're going to get a lot of calories from fat that you could easily find a brand that tastes just as good that's pretty much pure protein and lower fat, which in turn would lower the calories. So what I like is the Greenwise chicken sausage from Publix. I like this one because it has 5 grams of fat and 17 grams of protein in one link.
Oh,
so that's the best ratio, fat to protein ratio that I have found. There's a brand called Adele. Have you heard of that?
Adele's, AIDELLS, yes. And
so that one is not as good. And this is why, if you're trying to lose weight, and that's why I bring this up, is because if you look at it, you're just like, oh, it's chicken sausage. It's going to be the same as Greenwise. But that has 11 grams of fat and 13 grams of protein. So that's almost a 1-to-1 ratio of fat to protein. So you would want to opt for the Greenwise. It's just pure protein, and it tastes just as good. So
does Greenwise have different flavors of chicken sausage?
Yes, I think they have a jalapeno. They have
okay.
Yeah. And it's really thick too. And I mean, 17 grams of protein in one sausage link
that's amazing. I'm going to start getting Greenwise. And do you saute? I always saute mine in a smidge of high quality EVOO. Is that?
Yeah. And that's the thing. When you buy a leaner protein, not that you have to worry about olive oil, but you kind of do if you're trying to lose weight. I mean, 1 tablespoon of olive oil is, if you got that 15 grams of fat from that, plus the 15 grams of fat in the higher fat sausage, I mean, that's a lot of calories,
So are you not doing yours? And because see, I do EVOO for the veggies. I know for a fact I use too much EVOO. I go
um,
through bottles like I don't know. Oh,
I'm not legalistic about it, but I like the spray. I just use the spray can.
yeah.
Just because that's a natural regulator. You're not gonna, I mean, I can coat it, but I'm not gonna pour too much. So only if you're trying to lose weight though, then you would probably want to use the spray bottle. Okay, so the type of sausage is important, and you can buy that Greenwise brand at Publix. It doesn't have to be at Greenwise. So, and then the other thing I love about that is the veggies are not something that you're adding because you have to have veggies. They actually enhance the flavor of the entire dish.
Yeah, they do.
So,
Like a fajita, it's that flavor.
right. It's
peppers and onions and
right. It's basically an aromatic. Like it would not taste good without the veggies. And what I love about that is you're not like, oh, I have to put this amount of broccoli on my plate just to get my greens in. Like it's a vital part of the dish. So and then it's onions and peppers, you said? And like
onions, and peppers are vital. And then I typically, and it calls for, I think either squash or zucchini, but it's basically onions and peppers. And
so I've never even done it with squash and zucchini. And again, an easier way, it's a way to simplify it. You know, peppers and onions are going to cook a lot faster than zucchini and squash. So if you're crunched on time, just do the peppers and onions. Okay, and then the other thing, potatoes. I know mom sometimes adds potatoes. You would want these already cooked, obviously, so you could just brown them.
Yeah, or steam them, and where they're almost.
Yeah. And another thing, short little soapbox. They're sweet potato and regular potato. Like we need to stop demonizing the russet potato. There is nothing wrong with the russet potato.
I love potatoes. I'm not giving up potatoes. That's one thing.
Right. People are like, shoot, now I have to, be healthier. I'm only eating sweet potatoes. I'm like, no, like you're going to get vitamins and minerals and micronutrients from a regular white potato that you wouldn't get from a sweet potato. And then vice versa. Sweet potatoes are great. You'll get more vitamin A. Yes. But like, they're equally great. So go with preference. If you're preferring a regular potato one day, go for that. It's not any less healthy.
Well, I know when I was doing Faster Way, they would always say, eat sweet potato, not a white. Why?
I mean, what's I really don't know why. I mean, sweet potatoes are very packed with different micronutrients that the regular potato does not have, but that goes both ways. And when you actually look at where they both fall on the GI index, glycemic index, like how fast it shoots your blood sugar up, they're both in the medium to high range. So it's not
okay.
Yeah, it's not like one is significantly higher than lower than the other. Really it's going to come down to what you pair it with. Like, are you putting your potatoes with a protein? If you are, awesome, you're good. So add potatoes. I'm a big fan of that. But what I do is I just do my veggies and then my sausage, keep that separate, and then I pair the carbs later. So like if I want to put it with potatoes, I can. If I want to put it on rice, I can. I don't cook the potatoes into the actual recipe, if that makes sense.
Kelly, I'm just looking. Okay, I have 4 tablespoons of EVOO divided into 2. So that's 4 tablespoons. That's half of a cup. No, that's not 1/4 of a cup.
No,
I need to update this. But now there is garlic. Oh boy. Okay.
Some of your nutrition labels are just fair
10 grams of saturated fat. Yeah,
no,
we need to go over some of these and fix these. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, easy. You can keep it really simple and just do the protein and the veggie and the spray. But so the paleo skillet, I also really like to add shrimp. So another example, if you don't have chicken sausage, even you could do a freezer staple and do your frozen shrimp really quick and put that in as your protein, or you could bump up the protein and put the shrimp and the chicken sausage in the skillet together.
Yeah. So, awesome. Okay. I'm going to adjust that. So
yeah. And also too, like people get so sick of chicken and burned out on chicken. And I'm like, yo, like fish, seafood, scallops.
Seafood's easier and quicker than chicken. It takes less than 5 minutes.
And I would argue it's more micronutrient dense anyway. I mean, it is than chicken. So it's like, why do we feel like chicken is the healthy only singular option?
Oh yeah. And once you learn scallops, they're like little protein nuggets, clean and sweet, and they taste buttery, and they're so easy. But anyway, people are scared of fish, but
budget. I mean, when we were newlyweds, we're really not newlyweds anymore. We kind of are, but I mean, obviously Sean would be upset if he saw scallops on the grocery.
Sean needs to chill.
I know. Like,
Oh, no, I'm kidding. But no, all joking aside, I put them back. I had them in my buggy last week at Costco. They were $38 for a 2-pound bag. I said, I'm putting these things back. That's ridiculous. They're high right now. Scallops aren't cheap. So
I've done scallops like once, but I'm talking like shrimp, like tilapia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can get fish for affordable. So, all right, last two, and then I'll Anna will hop on, one of my clients.
Okay.
But, so the next one I pulled out is egg roll in a bowl. I think this is one of your more recent ones.
No, it's probably more recent than the other. Egg roll in a bowl. Mm-hmm.
So you updated it probably then.
Yeah, I updated it.
Okay, so this isn't a perfect example of eliminating a lot of things that you don't have to have just for simplistic purposes. Like for example, on your website, you have like half a head of cabbage, half a cup of carrots, freshly minced ginger, ground beef and pork, scallions, rice vinegar, brown sugar, soy sauce.
Yeah, that's too much.
Pepper, and which is great. I mean, a lot of people would love to make that and they have the time. But when we're talking simple, fast meal prep, this is how I look at it and boil it down. Start with the protein, okay? Mom, you had listed beef, right? That's totally fine if you get a really lean cut and you're trying to lose weight.
It's just as good with turkey. Did I not have that on there?
I prefer ground turkey.
I do too.
It's better, and then you can put your fat towards something else if you would like rather put a sauce with fat on it or something. But so what I do, I think the sweet spot for most people is a 93-7 split, which is 93% lean. 99% lean. I like it, but some people are just it's too lean. So just depending on your goals, but 93-7 is the sweet spot. 90-10 is probably too much fat, and then 80-20 is way too much fat. So what I would do is I would do like a ton of ground turkey, brown your meat first, cook that. Then what you do after you remove the lid and brown it after you've like cooked it all the way through, then you add an entire bag or a half bag, depending on how big your skillet is, of tricolor coleslaw. Okay. So the kind that's just, you don't even have to cut a cabbage. You don't have to dice anything. It's the bag that is pre-shredded, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and it's not the angel hair or the just shredded cabbage. It's got the tricolor, means it's carrot, cabbage, and something else. Because it's tri.
Can we link to these recipes in the show notes too?
Yeah, I will link to all these after I update them because I've got to do a lot of updating.
Okay. So you add the bag into your brown meat. You're gonna put the lid back on, okay? Because you want the moisture to cook through the coleslaw so that it kind of gets
tender.
Yeah, basically soggy. Then it'll cook down a lot so that you can take the lid off. Then you want to drizzle it with soy sauce or coconut aminos. I use coconut aminos, and I'll tell you why in a second. But it's 3 ingredients, literally 3 ingredients. And soy sauce and coconut aminos is so flavorful. That's all you need. You can add salt and pepper if you want, but that way we've taken out the brown sugar, we've taken out the ginger, we've taken out everything that you probably aren't going to have on hand, and it tastes so good. It's packed with protein. You got your veggies. Now all you have to do is add a carb if you want it on rice, however you want it. So the reason I do coconut aminos instead of soy sauce, soy sauce is not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. I prefer coconut aminos because it is gluten-free. I'm not gluten-free. I just try to lower my gluten intake a little bit just for inflammation purposes. And then it also is a lot lighter in sodium. So like you said with DAX, if you have to watch your sodium, coconut aminos is made from, it's like the fermented sap of coconut or something. And then soy sauce is made from soybean, so and so it's a lot lighter in sodium. So
and I do this a lot, and this helps some people feel better about making changes. Do half coconut aminos, half soy sauce. Transition into the healthier options.
And I mean, that's what I call a marginal gain. Like if you're not someone who has to worry about sodium, it doesn't matter. Use the flipping.
Oh yeah. And let me just say this. Ginger, I've started keeping that on hand. Ginger adds something that is really good. I mean, I know it's great this way. ginger, all you have to do is just peel the core and grate a little, and you would not believe how it will change and you can also get those Dorot. They're at Publix that you pop out the frozen cube. You can get garlic, basil, ginger. In the frozen section at groceries, you just pop out a square. You could throw that in if you want to have that ginger taste. But well, that's good, Ellie. I'm excited about that. So what was the fourth one?
So egg roll in a bowl was like, it's one of my clients' favorite and easiest. Moms love it.
So good.
You just make it like that. Kids love it too, and husbands.
Oh yeah.
All right, last one. I'll go through this quick just because Anna, I told her 9:30. So the spaghetti squash boats. I saw that on your website. And I think those are great, but I want to adjust it a little bit. It meets the criteria for meal prep because the protein is the centerpiece, right? You're going to add your ground turkey or your ground lean beef. But again, the vegetable is one of the parts that makes it a great dish, right? So the spaghetti squash is vital to the recipe. It's not just an add-on. So, you just throw the spaghetti squash in the oven, cut it in half, and then scrape out the inside, right? And you have your noodle copycat, right? It tastes just like noodle. What I like to do again is separate the meat from the spaghetti squash. So Mom, you have it listed as a boat, and that's great if you're like cooking it one time for the whole family and you're not going to save it. But I would rather put the protein on the spaghetti squash and have them stored separately so that I can control how much protein.
For my YouTube people, this is it.
Yep. They're beautiful. You can put cheese on top. If you can have cheese, just be careful. If you're trying to lose weight, don't do too much cheese. And again, I use 93.7 ground turkey for this, but I'll tell people how I cook it real quick. I brown my turkey, and to keep it simple, I just pour Rao's marinara sauce on top of the ground turkey. I don't do anything else fancy. I literally put a jar of sauce on top of the brown turkey, and I stir it, and then I go ahead and scrape out all the spaghetti squash. So you want to get it out when it's hot, and then I put it in a container and then mix the two. So I'm really not making a boat. But it's just an amazing dish, especially if you have had a lot of carbs that day and you maybe want to have like a little bit of a lower carb meal. I'm usually a fan of keeping everything pretty balanced, but you know when you've had brunch and you wanted pancakes, so you want to make dinner a little bit lighter. Right. So that's my fourth one, and it tastes amazing, and I don't think your family will miss noodles.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll be sure to link to that in the show notes, and that is awesome. Thank you, Ellie.